Okay, guys, so I'm going to retell a story that I actually got 10 views on it, and I was kind of impressed because I just started my YouTube channel, but I'm going to retell this story. So one day in Webster Groves, Missouri, I was sitting in my sunroom. I was watching TV, and a lightning bolt, I don't even know if there was a storm or not, a lightning bolt hit outside the tree, right outside the window, and it was big. I mean, I lost like 3 or 4 beats to my heart, And I turned around, and as it dissipated, I guess a horizontal static discharge came off of it, and it made its way through the seam of the window, which was closed, the top part of the window. And it was about a ½ inch or more thick, and it was blue, and it was just going zzz, like it was trying to decide what it was going to hit. So I got on all fours, and I boogie checked out the room like somebody that was doing a military, operation or something. But I kept my head behind me because I wanted to see what it was going to hit, And I was hoping it wasn't going to be me, obviously. And luckily, it decided to hit the chandelier, which had 4 light bulbs in it. So what I did was, I just turned off the TV and said, God, man, that was a close call. I'm not going to sit in there. I'm going to go in my room and go to bed. Fuck that room, I feel like I could have gotten hit, so I didn't want that to happen again. So I went in my room and tried to go to sleep. And the next day, anyway, I came home from wherever I was, and I always routinely check the house, make sure anyone's home or not, as a rule, actually, just for safety concerns to know if no one's home, then I have to pay attention to who's coming in and out the downstairs and, security reasons and stuff. Nobody was home. Okay, so I went into that room and I forgot, and I switched the light and nothing came on. There was no light. So obviously, the TV, the static discharge must have burnt out the light bulbs. So I started to take out the burnt light bulb, one of them anyway, so I could replace it. Now this is the story as it actually happened. I just left it out, and I was starting to take it out, and when I got it out, it fucking dropped. And I guess I didn't have a good grip on it. It dropped on the shag carpet. And there's a sliver of light coming in from the other room. And I saw it bounce and roll enough kinetic energy maybe to roll a foot or two. And just based on the way a light bulb is shaped, it's not going to roll far. It's going to roll in a circle, I don't know if this means anything or not. I'm just going to add this. My dad owned a lighting company at the time. All right. And anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because this was kind of a spooky thing. And anyway, the odd thing was, I couldn't take any of the lights out of the other room because my parents needed them. And, even though we owned a lighting company, we didn't have any fucking bulbs. So I was like, well, fuck, I'll just go on the floor and look for it. I couldn't find it. Even though it was a dud, it wasn't a workable light bulb. I was determined to find it. Where the fuck is this light bulb? I'm looking all over the fucking rug. I can't find it. So I went in the other room, got a flashlight, and looked all over the floor. Fuck, it wasn't there. Even though a light bulb wouldn't be able to fit under the radiator, I looked under the radiators anyway. Fucking anyway. And anyway, long story short, later on I tried to fit a light bulb under there. After this whole event, a light bulb wouldn't fit under there. Okay. So anyway, that was over with. So it's not under the radiators. It's not on the floor. I looked in the cabinet that was on the floor, and, I was expecting to see maybe somebody was home and they were just in that cabinet and they pulled a prank on me or something. But no, there's nobody in there. There's no light bulb. End of story. I got a creepy feeling something was watching me and it wouldn't go away. So I walked into my mom and dad's room where there was light, and, I don't know why I just got a creepy feeling something was watching me, and that's when I went into my mom and dad's room. I was a little better because there was light, but, I spent like fucking a half hour looking for that light bulb. And so because I couldn't find it, I went into my mom and dad's room, laid on the bed. And I think I remember thinking something like, don't take your eyes off that room, because as soon as you do, an explanation will come out of nowhere and everything will be fine. And I was like, fuck that. I want to know why I couldn't find it in the first place. I don't want to take my eyes off that room. And I guess for some reason I was so shooken up, some tears came out of my eyes, and I don't cry, okay? But this particular day, emotionally, I kind of lost it. I wasn't crying, but tears were dropping out of my eyes because it defied physics. You know what I mean? Straight away. It defied physics altogether. And that creepy feeling of somebody watching me wouldn't go away. So anyway, I eventually, came up with this idea. It was like 2 hours laying on my mom's bed. I came up with this idea. Hey, man, you looked on the floor. You looked everywhere you could. You looked even under the radiator, And I believe, for some reason I said, but to myself, did you look behind the radiator? I was like, well, yeah, of course I did. I mean, when you look under it, obviously you're looking behind it as well, right? Right. So I concluded that's a fucked up thought, It doesn't make any sense. And then I thought to myself, just go look behind him again. What's it going to hurt, So check him again. So this time I went in there and I looked under the radiator. It was most likely not going to be behind. I knew there wasn't going to be anything behind there, but for some reason I decided to look behind in the radiator from a vantage point where I could see up into where the heat shield is against the wall. I didn't see anything, but I don't know why I did that, but I said, might as well check the other one like that. So I checked the other one and looked behind it, and voila, there's a fucking light bulb crammed between the heat shield and the wall. And the heat shield was like this. So like if a light bulb did make its way under the radiator, which it wouldn't be able to do because it couldn't fit, it would not have been able to go past the heat shield because the heat shield was bent at an angle when it was over the radiator, and it closed off any possibility of a light bulb getting up in there. So obviously the first thing I'm thinking is, well, it's obviously not the same light bulb. Duh. Somebody put it in there years ago or something and you just didn't know it. So, but I for some reason when I thought that, I felt like this laughter. It wasn't audible, but it was like I could feel a laughter from like behind me. And it was intense, so intense that when I went to grab the light bulb, I pushed the heat shield in so I could even get the light bulb out of there, because otherwise it was stuck. And it was up in it, like a foot or two. It actually was about that high up in the radiator, stuck behind the heat shield on the wall. Anyway, I pushed the heat shield in, grabbed the light bulb, and I fucking, ran out of the room. And anyway, I checked the light bulb for dust, because if it has dust on it, it's probably been there for years. It's obviously not the same light bulb, because the light bulb couldn't have dropped out of your hand onto the shag carpet and made its way up in there. There's no fucking way, obviously, right? Well, I felt for dust, and it wasn't much dust on it. And I was like, you know what? We changed those light bulbs. In fact, I remember changing those light bulbs kind of just recently. And I knew for a fact they weren't laden with dust, And this light bulb was like that, had the same wattage. And I said, well, there's one way to find out. Screw it in and see if it works. If it doesn't work, maybe it's the fucking same light bulb, because it's the burnout light bulb, And so I went and screwed it in, and obviously it didn't work. So I'm thinking to myself, fuck. And then I got that laughter feeling again from behind me. And, I went back into my mom and dad's room and laid on the fucking bed, and some tears came out of my eyes again. And I shortened the story up just to make it clear that this is exactly how it happened. I didn't even have an extra light bulb to fucking put in there because we needed everything we had. It's kind of funny because my dad owns a lighting company. Anyway, so that's how that went down. And to this day, the that was an unexplained event. And I had to get that across. The last one I made was longer and it wasn't told exactly right. So I want to make sure I told it exactly right, you know, so you guys would get a clue exactly how shit went down. And to this day, you know, I believe that there was something going on because actually 2 weeks before this incident, and this is something I didn't say in the last video, but this did happen. 2 weeks before this incident with the lightning and the light bulbs and all that shit, we had some kittens, and they all fucking got loose. And it was weird because I was like, no one would let all the cats out like that. You know, I know for a fact, and it was just weird how they all got loose. You know, somebody was a fucking dildo and they fucking left the door open or something. Anyway, I spent a lot of time trying to find those cats, those kittens. And, I think at one point I saw them running around and then I couldn't catch them. They were like scared out of their wits. I mean, they wouldn't come or anything. You know how kittens are. They'll come right up to anyone, you know. But these cats, these kittens, for some reason, they were scared out of their wits. They didn't seem to recognize me, and they just boogied as soon as they saw me. Anyway, I continued to search for them, though. Anyway, and one day, I was outside in the yard, and I hear these mewing cats. And so I'm thinking, before I've had a cat up in the tree, and I had to climb shitload high to get it, risking my life, because those oak trees in St. Louis are fucking high. Okay, I had a tree house 100 feet up in the air, so trust me, they were very tall. And but I was looking up in all the trees. I couldn't find any of the kittens, and they were mewing, and I couldn't echolocate them or anything. It was the weirdest thing. It's like I finally had to give up. Literally, I had to give up because it's like I could not figure out where the fucking mewing was coming from. There's just no way to identify where it was coming from. So, like a week after the light bulb incident, I was trying to go to bed and I got a creepy ass feeling, like maybe there's a prowler or some shit like that downstairs. So I fucking, went down there, and in my mind, my mind's eye, I guess, my intuition told me, grab a fucking big knife, dude. Okay, because if there's someone out there and they got a gun or something, you better have something in your hand, okay? And so I did. And no, I wasn't having hallucinations, or I don't do that shit. I don't see things or see hallucinations or any of that bullshit. So I grabbed a fucking knife, a butcher knife, a big one. I went outside, and something told me, in the backyard, man, in the backyard. Check the backyard, My mind was telling me, go to the backyard. Don't go anywhere else but the backyard. So I did, I fucking started going in the backyard, and it was all dark as fuck, except for the house behind us had a light on like a telephone pole or something, and a yard light, and it was kind of shining, glimmering towards our yard a little bit, but not that much, and so I started walking, and I was trying to walk like a Native American, just really quiet, like not fucking making any leaves crinkle, like kung fu, straight up. And I said, that direction right there, and when I follow my intuition, it's like, yeah, it's power, it's something I feel is necessary, so I follow my intuition. So I started going in that direction, and wow, all of a sudden, that light lit up enough of that backyard area, and I saw something go boom, and I swear it kicked up leaves and sticks. You could see the silhouette of it, and you could hear the leaves and sticks flying up in the air, and landing on the ground as it boogied. I mean, and it went from one tree to another, and it stopped behind the other tree. I saw the silhouette, and I'm not going to lie to you. When people say they've seen stuff like the CHUPA and it's on two legs, that's exactly what it was like. It was not a fucking dog, okay? It wasn't some weird dog-looking thing. It was it looked like what they call the CHUPA. No fucking shit, okay? Anyway, the silhouette, I could see it from that light, and it looked like it had a bulbous head and kind of a little pot belly and like weird kangaroo legs or something. But they weren't jumping like a kangaroo. They were boogieing like, like two legs, like somebody running. But like I said, it was spitting up sticks and leaves as it ran, and it was about 3 feet tall. Anyway, that made my heart beat like 1,000 miles an hour. So I said, fuck this shit, man. What the fuck was that? I want to find out what is that shit. So I, as quietly as I could, I ran up to that tree. And I said, if it goes in any direction, I'm going to see it. If it tries to back away from the tree as I'm coming towards the tree to escape my view, I'm going to be there in time to see it. So I did that. And I went to go behind the tree, and I was, thinking to myself, man, don't let this be some fucking kid at night or something, because I don't want to hurt somebody innocent, Please don't let this. But when I went around the tree, I heard this like leathery flapping shit. And I swear to God, I looked up the tree, and the light from the house was lighting up that side of the tree, and I didn't see shit. But whatever went behind that tree, it was completely gone. All right, so the first time I told you about the story, I didn't relate this story to you. But anyway, so I don't even get to bed that night. Eventually I get back in the house and I'm like, man, fuck, that was weird. So, like the following day, I'm out trying to see if I can hear those kittens again, because that was so weird how I couldn't find them, when they were mewing. I couldn't hear them. I could hear them, but I couldn't find them. So I spent another like 3 days, searching for them. Finally, I was like to the point where I was just going to give up. I was going to give up. Fuck it. The kittens are gone, man. Somebody took them or something, And so one day I'm walking through the side yard, and, for some reason I wanted to go over to the little brush area that separates the 2 yards. And so I did. And when I did, fuck. Oh my God. This is no kidding. This is no joke. This is fact. 3 of the kittens, of the 4 kittens, 3 of them were sitting there on their back dead. All their guts were gone. They were split open in the middle, like somebody dissected them. And all the guts were missing. There was no splatters of blood or anything. They were all laying in a row. They're all laying in a row. All right? That's what happened. And I believe it had to do possibly with whatever that fucking creature I saw had something to do with that fucking lightning bolt, or maybe it came out of the lightning bolt. Maybe the lightning bolt is like a dimensional travel vehicle for these fucking creatures. Anyway, the thing about it is that that creepy feeling I had, it kind of matched with that creature that I saw, sprinting from one tree to the other. And I was convinced, whatever that thing is, it has the ability to disappear. All right? Yeah, I caught it running, but, it may even took off because I think it had like wings or something. But it disappeared because as soon as I heard it flap, I looked behind that tree and I couldn't see anything. And there was plenty of light in that area because that was where the house light was hitting the trees and shit. So whatever it was, it has the ability to disappear. It has the ability to fucking be invisible while it's doing shit. And I think it fucking stuck that light bulb behind there. Let me know it was there. Was it a demon? I don't know. To me, it reminded me of kind of a gargoyle or something, but because of the size of his head, it kind of reminded me of a chupacabra. And, you mix the two together, and what do you got? You just got some kind of creature. You don't know if it's a demon or not, but whatever it is, it likes to fuck with people. It likes to mess with your mind. And, you know, it laid those little kittens out in a little row with no guts or blood fucking there. I knew for a fact, man, that thing fucking ate that shit.